tracks, stats, and facts. www.enterthedome.com.
Good people, what's going on? Welcome to episode 14, Me Against the World versus Machiavelli, the Tupac edition. Now look, as always, I'd like to thank everyone who has joined the Dome, subscribed to the new podcast. I appreciate it greatly. Hey, it's all good, man. Like I said, I don't take it for granted, man. I appreciate the comments and the support so far. So look, over the years, we've always talked about Tupac's best album, which ones hit more now, 20 plus years after his untimely death, which one you resonate with more content-wise, production-wise, where he was at that point in his life. I think that's important as well, because one thing about Tupac, just like Kanye West, Outkast, even Nas and a few other guys, their music kind of was a reflection of where they were. Even people like Joe Budden and others, so depending on where they were, their subject matter and just think their energy, passion, and everything they brought to the table was either one more subtle or intensified because of, again, art imitates life, etc. Now, in thinking about Me Against the World and Machiavelli, it's been a long debate on which one is the best. So like I did on a previous episode when I compared Godson to Life is Good, the Nas edition, I like to go track by track and just kind of talk about not just the tracks, but what was going on during that time. And we know when we think about Me Against the World being released in like March of 1995, we know the previous year Tupac went through a lot of stuff. He was on trial for that sexual assault case, and that's been well documented as far as like the issues with Haitian Jack and some of those guys in the streets in New York. You know what I'm saying? And then also with him being shot, and robbed, and who was involved with that? Was it Jimmy Henchman? Was it Haitian Jack? Was it whoever? He addressed that at some point on one of his albums, what he felt, but a lot of people, including Biggie at the time, had said, hey, man, he was around some bad people. And he was warned by a lot of people to get away from these guys. Nevertheless, you had a situation where with all the cops in Atlanta, you had the sexual assault charge, you had him being robbed at Quad Studio, all of this leading up to him writing Me Against the World. And Me Against the World obviously is a very deep and passionate album because, he was going through probably the craziest time of his life at that time. So there it is. Of course, Machiavelli, that was released in 1996. And of course, it was released after he passed away. But just hearing Machiavelli, you can see that where his energy was at. So we'll get into some of those details, but let's kind of start. The intro of Me Against the World is really just talking. So it's not a song, which is fine because looking at the track listing, Me Against the World, it has 15 songs, but it has an intro and an outro. So the outro is Outlaw. So that's actually a song. So it's 14 songs on Me Against the World, and there's 12 songs on Machiavelli. So we'll do what we can in that regard. But the intro to Me Against the World is a bunch of news clips, basically talking about all of the things that Pop was going through at the time. So it was kind of setting the tone and the vibe of the album as far as like, when you listen to the different news reporters and they was just saying in Tupac news, okay, again in Tupac news, once again in Tupac news, you know what I mean? And they talked about everything he was going through. And that leads right into If I Die Tonight, which is the first song on the album. Now, I played probably a 1-minute clip of the first verse of If I Die Tonight on Twitter recently. If I Die Tonight is that proof of Pac rap skills that I think is always underrated, because people say, oh, he's not with the metaphors and the double entendres and he ain't doing the Jay-Z thing or Lupe Fiasco, Elzai and all these guys. No. Pac could rap. He showed it on this. If you don't believe that, listen to Got My Mind Right on All Eyes on Me, the song with Mel Fred, the Dog Pound, and all of that. I mean, he showed his lyrical ability, flow, passion, energy, everything on that track. And that's what Pac could do. Pac could take what you might feel like was basic lyrics, and his passion, flow, and energy always took him to another level on a track. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, he was lyrical. You know what I'm saying? So if I die tonight, listen to that first verse. Listen to the second verse. I mean, Pac was killing it, but if I die tonight, to me, it was a perfect intro to Me Against the World after the actual intro. The lyrics, the beat, you could tell where he was at the time, because that's that paranoia, that's that, man, they tried to kill me, you know what I'm saying? And I already had a situation with the cops on more than one occasion. He had an issue with when the cops beat him up, I believe, on the West Coast. Then he had the situation with off-duty cops in Atlanta. So that If I Die Tonight made sense, and then the robbery and everything. So If I Die Tonight, first song on Machiavelli's Bomb First. Bomb First is hard. Of course, he's dissing Nas. Jay-Z, listen, the funny thing about the Jay-Z part is him talking about Big Little Willie, whatever, and Hawaiian Sofa type thing and all of this stuff. Is a lot of people on Twitter recently was thinking that Jay-Z was a nobody in 1996. And what I was trying to tell people is, first of all, Jay-Z was very much known in New York. He might not have been a big celebrity yet, but he was very much known in New York. He had been running with Jaz-O and Big Daddy Kane for years. He had been working with Original Flavor and Ski for years. So people on the underground knew who Jay-Z was. You know what I'm saying? So, and then you do a song with Biggie. So Dead Presidents comes out, Reasonable Doubt comes out. It's a big album on Underground New York. But you got Biggie on the song. So yes, Pop was well aware. There's also a YouTube channel, I can't remember the name right now, that did a whole Tupac versus Jay-Z, and it showed all of the times that Jay-Z dissed Tupac on those unreleased Makaveli songs. So he was on the radar. But anyway, Bomb First, he said Nas the alleged ringleader, which is kind of funny when you think about, you would think that he would have said Biggie was the alleged ringleader, but 1995 was Biggie's year, you know what I'm saying, as far as like, and I also listed that on Twitter, all of the songs, because Ready to Die was released in like November of 1994. So 1995 was Biggie's year with Ready to Die. The joints were Total, the stuff with Puff, all these singles, the Conspiracy album by Junior Mafia, etc. So that was his year. 1996, Nas had seen Biggie's reign in 1995 and the Source Awards, and Biggie won all the awards. And of course, with Steve Stout, they created It Was Written, a hardcore mafia kind of influenced album with a nice commercial single, which was If I Ruled the World, with Lauryn Hill, who was riding off the Fugees to score, and all of their acclaim at the time. And it was a Houdini sample, if I'm not mistaken. So, but anyway, It Was Written was huge. Outlaws also said that before Machiavelli was written, Tupac was studying It Was Written. He was listening to it. Listen, it's on YouTube, man. You can find the interviews with the Outlaws talking about Pac was listening to It Was Written. Of course, we know that It Was Written had I Gave You Power on it, and Machiavelli had Me and My Girlfriend in it. But I digress. Now, Bomb First is hard. On any other day, I would say Bomb First was one of Pac's best intro songs and things of that nature. But I got to go with If I Die Tonight, man. Because If I Die Tonight just captured Pac more sincere, more almost scared to a degree, but brave at the same time with that song, man. So I'm going to give If I Die Tonight a slight edge over Bomb First, man. So I'm going to say that. You know what I mean? Now, the second track, Me Against the World title track. Love Me Against the World title track, man. But you know what the funny thing is? I believe I heard Me Against the World title track first on the Bad Boy movie. Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. Now, it's funny, but the news right now with the Jada and Will and, the Tupac thing, at some point, the daughter wrote a letter to Tupac and all, we won't get into all that. But anyway, Me Against the World, the title track of the album, was actually on the movie Bad Boy with Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. Great comedy action movie, Michael Bay, I believe, 1995. It all makes sense now. Great song, lyrically sharp. It was really encapsulating everything that he was going through in his life at the time. and it flowed perfectly after If I Die Tonight, man. That transition was flawless from the intro to If I Die Tonight to Me Against the World title track was perfect. As far as comparing it to Makaveli, man, the track 2 is Hail Mary on Makaveli, man. Hail Mary is very hard. It's probably one of the hardest songs Pac has, probably a top 5 in terms of just like the energy of Hail Mary. I'm gonna have to give that round to Hail Mary, man. I mean, I don't really have a choice. It's too much for Makaveli. I mean, for Me Against the World track. So we're gonna say that is, you know, that's gonna be 1-1. You know what I'm saying? Now we're looking at So Many Tears is track number 4. Look at this transition again, you guys. Intro to If I Die Tonight to Me Against the World to So Many Tears. So Many Tears, man, is Pac at one of his most heartfelt moments. It's a vulnerable song. I suffered through the years and shed so many tears. The little horn on it. I mean, it just doesn't get too much better than that song, man. I mean, that is a dope song. Now, if you doing that with Toss It Up, you know, even though I love Jodeci, Toss It Up was a cool song. I mean, obviously, Toss It Up is not gonna beat it's not gonna beat So Many Tears, man. There's just no way in the world it's gonna do that. Now, if we go to the next track, now look at this now. We're going to the next track. We got Temptations. This track is the next track. It's against To Live and Die in LA. Look, I love To Live and Die in LA. It's a dope song. It's a feel-good song. It's one of the singles, if I'm not mistaken, off it's the second single on Machiavelli because Toss It Up is the first single. But To Live and Die in LA is not better than Temptations, man. You remember Temptations video? I thought that was dope, man. I think Tretch was on there. Temptations video had Salt-N-Pepa, and Salt was looking so good in the bed with Pac. I mean, but anyway, yeah, that's when everybody loved Salt-N-Pepa, man. Salt to me she was just so hot, man. But anyway, I think there was a rumor that Pac was seeing Salt too. But Pac was seeing everybody, wasn't he? But Temptations is a better song. I think Easy Mo B. Yeah, he said, "Yo, Mo B, man, hey, yeah." So Easy Mo B did that one. Shout out to Easy Mo B. You know what I'm saying? We were just talking about him today on Twitter. One of the guys had Easy Mo B versus Lost Professor on Twitter, Mad Slander. You know what I'm saying? So shout out. But yeah, man, Easy Mo B killed that beat. We got to give that. We're gonna go ahead and give that to Me Against the World. Now look, as dope as y'all think Machiavelli is right now, we got like 3-1. You know what I'm saying? But that's just me. You know what I'm saying? Let me know what you're thinking, man. So as we go down, another transition again to Young Niggas. Young Niggas is dope, man. Young Niggas got that cameo sample. That kind of G that everybody knows. Yeah, man. Young Niggas, man. That's one of my favorite joints on Me Against the World, man. Young Niggas against Blasphemy. Blasphemy is a dark song. It goes back to Machiavelli has his moments is a very dark album. It's a very angry album to a degree. It does have, a couple of joints on there that's not so angry, but overall the vibe and the energy of Machiavelli is different. You know what I'm saying? So Blasphemy is hard. So he actually spitting some rhymes that he's kind of comparing his life to, like, it's a biblical type thing, man. He goes somewhere real deep with Blasphemy, man. It's tough. This is a tough round right here because, like I said, I think Young Niggas, because in the end of Young Niggas, it's more of an inspirational song. You know what I'm saying? So in the midst of going through a lot of trial and tribulations, is the first half of Me Against the World, from If I Die Tonight to Me Against the World to So Many Tears to the Temptations to Young Niggas. At the end of it, he's like, man, you out here doing all this whatever, selling drugs, you could be the next lawyer. You see Johnny Cochran, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was giving some inspiration to the listeners and to the young people, and it's called the Young Niggas, you know what I'm saying? He was just basically telling them, don't do what these guys in the streets doing, man. You can be better than that. You know what I'm saying? I think that message alone, I got to give. I'm going to give that edge, man, over Blasphemy, man. I know Blasphemy is a dope song, and it has, you know what I'm saying, a crazy energy with it, crazy beat with it. And that beat drop is nuts if you have it in the ride. But I just don't see how it can match up with Young Niggas, man. You know what I'm saying? I just don't, but it is a dope song. But as we move on, man, Heavy in the Game is dope. I like Heavy in the Game. Heavy in the Game against Life of an Outlaw. Life of an Outlaw is gonna have an edge on that one. I just think I don't have to go too much detail. I think that Heavy in the Game is good. You know what I'm saying? But Life of an Outlaw is just look. He got a little more fire, a little passion in there. I think the production is a little bit better. We'll keep it moving, man. This next, Lord Knows. I remember I put on Twitter probably about a year ago. I was like, what Pac songs kind of underrated that people really, really love? And I didn't give my answer yet. I wanted to read my timeline. And I was very, very shocked at how many people picked Lord Knows. I was like, wow, that's the one I was going to pick. And people really love that song. And it's a heartfelt song, man. And I like the way it come on, man. He's like, damn, another funeral kind of thing, or whatever the case may be. You can hear him like coughing, like he's smoking, a joint, and he coughing and whatever. But I smoke a blunt to get the pain out. And if it wasn't die, I'd probably blow my brains out. I'm hopeless. They should have killed me as a baby. And now they got me trapped in the storm. I'm going crazy, whatever. I just, I love that song, man, the way it started off. The energy was right, but it was deep, man. You know what I'm saying? It was a very deep song. It fit the theme of the album because, what's funny? Me Against the World, people don't talk about it like a concept album with a theme or something like that, but Me Against the World is a concept album. It's Me Against the World is like Tupac's diary. You know what I'm saying? Like if I want to introduce someone to Tupac, a young person right now who said, man, I heard of that rapper named Tupac that, died a long time ago. Could you turn me on to his music? I would give them Me Against the World because Me Against the World encapsulates Tupac's whole life. And it's a combination to me of all of his albums. You know what I'm saying? So, that's just kind of what it is, man. Lord Knows fit the vibe and the energy of the album. It's a perfect song, man. It's actually one of Tupac's best songs to me. All that being said, Just Like Daddy is a pimp song. You know what I'm saying? Just Like Daddy has like the Outlaws on it. Just Like Daddy reminds me, it has the same vibe as like Jay-Z Cashmere Thoughts on Reasonable Doubt, or some E40 or Too Short, one of those kind of pimp type joints, man. You know what I'm saying? So the world is filled, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. So it's kind of one of those things like that. Or doing DJ Quick or something like that. So it's a dope song, man. Just Like That is very dope. The beat is very dope too, but obviously, Just Like That, it can't see. It can't see, Lord knows, man. Now we get down to track number 9 on Me Against the World. The first single, Dear Mama. How can you beat Dear Mama? Because at the end of the day, Dear Mama is one of the greatest rap songs of all time. It's a song you can actually say like a list of greatest songs in any genre. It will probably be listed. It will probably be listed because everyone can relate to their mom. And even though it's showing love to his mom, but it's showing the realism of growing up with his mom and the struggles that she had with addiction, even her triumphs, you know what I'm saying, and defeats and everything. It was very real. And I would have loved to see what Afeni thought about the song. I'm sure there's been an interview where she talked about it. You know what I'm saying? I can't recall it, but I'm sure it was. But this was a real song. This showed the vulnerability of Tupac, the reason why people connected with him. You know what I'm saying? And just like Shock G, rest in peace, they said one time when he was even saying, even though he was a crack fiend, mama, you always with a black queen, mama. I think about that because she was a fighter in the civil rights and everything. But then, systematic racism, poverty, addiction, it got the best of her at some point too. You know what I'm saying? The 80s and the drugs and everything. You know what I'm saying? But he was still saying, you're still a queen even though you went through your challenges. And everyone with a loved one or a mother, or you maybe had a hard upbringing with your parents, you love them, you respect them. They might have gone through some things and you might have had to go through it with them. You know what I'm saying? So Dear Mama is easily one of the best dedication songs in all of music. It is what it is. So now we're talking about Crazy. Time goes by, puffing on live. You have to go crazy. Yeah, Crazy is dope. But Everything I just said about Dear Mama just now means I can go ahead and skip Crazy Right. It's just not better. Uh, it ain't easy. Track number 10 on Me Against the World against White Man's World. White Man's World win. We don't have to even talk too long about that. White Man's World that's that revolutionary side of Tupac. That's that conscious side, because Tupac was gangster, conscious, sentimental, passionate, nuts, everything. But White Man's World is his little history lesson on Machiavelli. One of the few times you'll get that kind of consciousness. You know what I'm saying? White Man's World reminds you of something that would have been probably on Tupac Now, being that he had, Britain's Got a Baby and Trapped. Something like Trapped into White Man's World would have been a decent transition because Trapped was a societal type song and the video was in black or white with him in jail. You know what I'm saying? The White Man's World fits that same kind of theme. So I would put White Man's World easily, of course, over It Ain't Easy. Can You Get Away? Track number 11. This is him, pimping again a little bit on Me Against the World. Don't really fit the thing with the album, but so much, but it's on there. It's a good song, but it's going up against Me and My Girlfriend. Shout out to Nas and I Gave You Power that influenced me against Me and My Girlfriend for Tupac. Me and My Girlfriend, of course, he's using talking about a gun in relation to a girl, a relationship, etc. It's a classic. It's probably on a grand scale, it's bigger than I Gave You Power with Nas. It's not lyrically better, and I don't think it's a better song personally, but I can get why people would rock with Me and My Girlfriend over I Gave You Power. Me and My Girlfriend is just better than Can You Get Away? Just whatever, it's better. Track number 11 track number 12 is Old School. Now, what's funny about Old School, now he gave props to hip hop. He was talking about Mel and Grandmaster Cat, everybody on this song. He bigged up LL Cool J, which is funny because at some point, he had a little riff with LL Cool J. Could have been over Kadada Jones. There's some rumors, yada, yada, yada. I think that Pop took Kadada from LL, doing maybe a time when LL wasn't with his, at some point, wife. So he did LL on some old Machiavelli joints that didn't make the album. I mean, he had about 30 songs that eventually leaked in all these different Machiavellis. So he did LL. But at the time, he gave LL props. He gave De La Soul props, and of course, we know what happened with De La Soul at some point with Tupac. He gave De La Soul props. He talked about all kind of legends in the history of hip hop on nothing like the Old School. You know what I'm saying? It was really a paying homage to the culture. Great song, man. Underrated Tupac song. So Old School against Hold Your Head. Hold Your Head is another revolutionary type song. Hold Your Head is very tough. It's one of my favorite songs on Machiavelli. Even though I like Old School, I'm gonna give Hold Your Head is really tough. Hold Your Head remind me of some Public Enemy, you know what I'm saying? Some X-Clan, some Brand New. It's just really one of those songs where the system, talking about the system, talking about prison, talking about life, talking about the struggle. Pac did that very well, man. Whenever he focused on that, it wasn't too many people that was better. Then my number's gonna be a little off because again, there's more songs on Big Against the World, and we'll get to some type of conclusion. So I'm gonna get at the Hold Your Head. Now we have it's tough now because it's 3 more songs to 1. So Me Against the World, we still have Fuck the World. They try to say that I don't care. I like that track though, man. It's a good track. Then you have Death Around the Corner. It's Death Around the Corner fits the theme again to me of Me Against the World because Death Around the Corner is almost like part 2 of If I Die Tonight. You know what I'm saying? Now, not saying Fuck the World didn't blend in with the album because it made sense to a degree, but Death Around the Corner really brought it back full circle to the theme of the album because I think he got away with the thing once he got the It Ain't Easy and Can You Get Away. Track 11 and 12, I think he kind of veered off a little bit, but jumped back on it with Fuck the World and Death Around the Corner. And then Outlaw, of course, ending the album very hard. I love Outlaw. Now, the ending of Machiavelli is Against All Odds. I'm gonna take Against All Odds over Outlaw. Uh, I think Against All Odds is also better than Fuck the World. Death Around the Corner gives it its run for its money. But I would probably say Against All Odds personally is better than the last 3 tracks on Me Against the World, even though all 3 of those tracks are stellar. Against All Odds to me is one of Pac's best diss songs. It might be his best one. I've talked about this on Twitter before. Against All Odds is better than Hail Mary. No, excuse me, not Hail Mary. What I'm thinking about. What's the track, man, about banging Biggie's wife and all of that stuff like that, man. Drawing a blank right now. What's the diss song? Somebody help me out here. But I think that his best diss song is Against All Odds. What's that? Hit 'em Up, man. Good God, I really caught a blank, guys. Sorry about that. Hit 'em Up. I know people love the energy of Hit 'em Up, and I know people think that it's one of the hardest diss songs of all time and all this stuff. I actually think it's a little overrated. Maybe it's because the features on there and Pac didn't rap enough. I don't know. But Bomb First is probably harder to Hit 'em Up. When We Ride, you know what I'm saying? I like When We Ride, the remix version with Wishing on a Star beat on it. You know what I'm saying? I think those joints are better than Hit 'em Up to me. You know what I'm saying? Again, sorry for that blank I got. I forgot the name of the song. But yeah, Against All Odds was Pac focused. You can tell he sat back, he wrote it, he did Nas, he did Biggie, he did De La Soul. You know, he did everybody. He did the cats he felt like had something to do with the quad shooting on us. So all that came full circle. You know what I'm saying? Jimmy Henchman. You know what I'm saying? Haitian Jack. I mean, he called all of them out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, called him a Haitian Jack a snitch. You know, promise payback, Jimmy Henchman, in due time. I know you. The world is mine. Shut me up. Yeah, but the guns bust. You know, whatever. So yeah, he was. He said something about the Tut. Here we go, gunshots to Tut. After rap game is MOB. So believe me, we're enemies that go against all odds. You know what I'm saying? And he really went at Nas really hard on Against All Odds. I know everybody talked about how, there's been several versions of that Brian Park meeting with Pac and Nas. And I think Nas version and Napoleon version were the ones that seem like people believe. And then Snoop Dogg just made up a whole damn story that he was standing there and when Pac walked off, he was like, I got these niggas shook and all this stuff like that. Nas said that Pac was, that Snoop was a little misunderstood there. He didn't basically know what he was talking about. But actually, Napoleon, Suge Knight, there's an interview with Suge Knight on YouTube also, and Suge Knight said that when Pac said something to him that same night, he said, "Man, I like Nas, man. I'm gonna take them songs off of Makaveli. You know what I'm saying? Yada yada yada." And Nas ended up being out west and they're supposed to get together, but of course he got shot and he passed away. Ed Lover, of course, Nas allowed Ed Lover to stop his show that time, and they talked about him passing away or what have you during that show. All that stuff is is on YouTube. But yeah, man, he was talking about, you don't sound like Rakim, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like a little nigga named Nas to get live like me. Talk about he left the hospital, took 5 like me. So yeah, he went hard on everybody, man. Against All Odds was a perfect way to end Machiavelli because it started off with Bomb First. You know what I'm saying? And at the end, he said, y'all basically said, don't start a war till I get my money right. He said, now I got my money right, now I want some war. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, Machiavelli was very compact. There's probably not a bad song on Machiavelli. At the end of the day, it is a tough album because, unlike All Eyes on Me, which I think is damn near classic, off disc 1 alone, there are a couple of songs on disc 2 that could have been scrapped. What's that? What's your phone number? Is that the end of disc 1 or end of disc 2? Either way, there's a couple of songs, probably about 3 or 4 on disc 2 that could have been scrapped, and you could have had disc 1 of All Eyes on Me just be All Eyes on Me with maybe a few songs from, maybe 5 songs from it could have been about 18, 19 songs on All Eyes on Me, and to me it would have been 5 mics. You know what I'm saying? But it was a little bloated like every double CD is gonna have a few songs that somebody might not like. But unlike that, Machiavelli and Me Against the World were compact, and they didn't have any filler. If I look at the track list right now, so basically I have Me Against the World with more songs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I had like 8, 9 more as a win, and like 3 or 4 songs for Machiavelli. So yeah, I mean, Me Against the World for me is a better album than Machiavelli. Me Against the World is a top 20, top 25 rap album of all time. I think it's Tupac's best album for a lot of different reasons. Some of them I've mentioned already. Some of them I've talked about on Twitter before. But I understand when some people think that Machiavelli is his best album because it is. It's concise, straight to the point, is up close and personal, raw. A lot of raw passion and a lot of raw emotion is on Machiavelli. But I feel like also with Machiavelli, he was still kind of wilding. It was after All Eyes on Me. It was after Hit 'Em Up. It was doing this whole East Coast, West Coast in 1996. Episode 1 was about the Hip Hop War in 1996. If you guys haven't seen that one, check out episode 1. I go into a lot of detail about 1996 specifically. You know what I'm saying? And, of course, Pac was all over 1996 because he had All Eyes on Me in the spring, and he had Machiavelli that came out, you know what I'm saying, like in November, even though he had passed away. But, leading up to Machiavelli, Pac was, he was kind of all over the place, man, as far as like with the aggression, with the disses, with the interviews, and everything. So, that's what 1996 was about in terms of the bad boy beef that, unfortunately, I feel like because of Me Against the World, Pop was warned about what he was doing, hanging with the wrong crowd. And, when the shot situation, getting shot happened, I think this whole Biggie thing was fabricated. And unfortunately, I do believe that being young and naive, I'm not trying to necessarily blame Pac on Big dying, but the energy didn't help. And I know at some point people do know that on the interview, Pac said he was trying to sell records, you know what I'm saying, or whatever the case may be, because some of their mutual friends asked him what's going on. He's like, I'm trying to sell records. But it did get real at some point. It did get real at some point because too many other people got involved who weren't in the music business. We know that. And it cost both of these guys their lives, man. I really believe that. So I believe outside entities, and I think a lot of it started with the quiet shooting and Tupac saying that Biggie and Puff and them had something to do with it, man. And a lot of rumors, a lot of people are upset about that because they know that didn't happen that way. But nevertheless, during all the trials and tribulations, Me Against the World was created. It was released while he was in prison. And man, of course, it was number 1 on the Billboard 200 for like 4 or 5 weeks. Then it stayed just on the Billboard for quite a bit of time. And of course, it's double, triple platinum now. It's a big album. You know what I'm saying? Dear Mama was nominated for a Grammy, and so was Me Against the World. Machiavelli was a moment in time. You know what I'm saying? Of course, if he would have lived through Machiavelli and been able to promote Machiavelli himself and release more singles and maybe remixes and stuff like that, then maybe the impact of Machiavelli would have been different. And of course, Machiavelli had a massive impact because he died. So we know the whole thing, is Richie Valens, it's Buddy Holly, it's James Dean, it's Bob Marley, it's all the people who died when they were 27 years old. I mean, obviously passing away in your prime and passing away right before a huge project is going to be released is going to elevate it some. So for some people, Machiavelli is his magnum opus. You know what I'm saying? I'll take Me Against the World. Those are just my thoughts, man. What do you guys think in regard to Me Against the World versus Machiavelli? Where do you rank these two albums in Pac's discography? Where do you rank these two albums in the top, let's say 25, top 50 albums of all time? Both of them are classic. What is your favorite song on each album or songs of each album? That's it. Episode 14. I appreciate you guys' time. One love. Peace from NC. Rest in peace, Tupac, man. Peace.